Okay, my name is Wouter. Nice to meet you all. It's great to be here in Mos for the second time. I have learned more things about Mos today in my short visits to date than I did in the whole time that I was here last time, which was actually 3 days. So it turns out, for you who doesn't know yet, but there's a guy here running around in a Spider-Man costume. I've seen him, elusive. I was amazed. Like, I never heard of this story, but so for 10 years or so, like, there's somebody there. So I saw the elusive Spider-Man. No, it's good to be here. And it's nice to experience your little town here. It's beautiful old trees and the little area. I think is really gorgeous. The music I've heard so far is very nice. So today we're gonna talk about this stuff: how to make music, how to make sounds, how to make sound art, or how to collage with sounds. Just in the end, like many people ask me what I do or what I made or what I call myself, and I have like in certain applications, I'm a composer performer. In other applications, I'm an instrument designer, and personally, I like the title music worker in like the more Kraftwerk tradition. I like to work with music. I like to work with sound. I like to figure stuff out. I like material things. I like objects, things that move and creates different ambiances and atmospheres. So that's what I've been spending a large chunk of my life on doing, be it in making music, make instruments, working with, currently I'm working also with ensembles and groups and building things for them or developing shows around technology. I do my own installative arts works. Usually I try to be as performative as I can make them. So I like to have things that make music and also feel musical and are like a tool of musical expression. And yeah, then you come with one suitcase to Moss, and then this is all that fits in. So it's great. This is I left my house 3 days ago. I had a concert yesterday night in Madrid. So if I look a little bit tired, that's I was picked up this morning at 4 o'clock from my hotel. So it was an early day. Um, but yeah, this is all I could squeeze into my suitcase, and this is actually all that I want to talk about today, and also play with, demonstrate, but most of all, also just play together. And so the rules very simple. Like, I'm a tangent map. Like, I start somewhere, I end somewhere, and in between, I kind of go like this. So if you feel that I kind of go too far off course, or if you don't get it, or I go too fast, just tell me, and I'll slow down, and we backtrack a bit, and then we get back to the source. And if you have any other questions, related to what we're doing, just ask it. Sound. I think that's maybe a good place to start. Sound is vibrations that reach your ear. A piano is a vibrating string. A loudspeaker is a vibrating membrane that sends stuff into the air around us and bounces back and forth. And I think with everything that we do today, maybe it's good to think about sound as an organic thing that seeps through, see it as a vibration, as a wave. And hopefully at the end of the minutes of today, you'll realize that you can make sound with everything, because that's kind of what we're going to do. Since sound is vibration, right? And a speaker sends out vibration, and yeah, it means that with a little bit of tinkering, any speaker or anything that sends out vibration can also become a microphone. In case of the contact microphone, it's actually really great because there's no moving parts on it. So it doesn't pick up any stray vibrations or things that you don't want. It just picks up the actual vibration of what you're hearing, you know? And when I talk here, you know, and you won't hear it through the microphone, but you know, the moment that you have, for instance, my act timer. It's great. Contact microphones you can use on a lot of things. So you can use it on any type of surface. You can use it on a drum. You can use it on an acoustic instrument. Anything that vibrates, has strings, anything that has any way of giving acoustic information out to the world, you know. Contact microphones are really great.
And they are cheap, that's all.
That's the beauty of it. I think this contact microphone costed me no more than 10 cents to make. An old cable, one of these discs, and of course, for a friend that can solder or your soldering iron, and then you can just, just solder these together. There's a plus and a minus, a ground and a hot. Just wire them up as such that the tip is the plus. And the world is your oyster, as they say. Also, if you're really had enough of that smoke alarm, you know, and just take the disc out, and now you know what to do. Plus to the inside, minus to the outside. This is the most basic way, obviously, but then the moment that you introduce something that vibrates, you immediately have a tone, right? So the moment you can change that tone, exactly. Wait, we're gonna put. We're not sticking enough. It also works with like shitty speakers. When not happy, just pick another microphone. I tend to heavily abuse these things in their life, but yeah, since they're only 10 cents, you know, it doesn't make so much of a difference. Well, this one has more of a vintage sound. And then the moment that you add effects to this, let's see where this takes us. So, contact mics you can use for any vibrational stuff. You can use it to also feedback signals coming from a speaker. You can also use it for on your body. You can use it on anything that moves. But of course, what is way more interesting is when you can go into the terrain of waves that you cannot hear at all. So we now heard the vibrations of the motor. Yeah. But these motors also give up an electromagnetic field. So when they spin around, they will create an electromagnetic field. So here you can also hear the quicker that the motor spins. But then the moment when I get my for this with these guys are wound coils. But you also have, for instance, in a guitar, pickup. So in the end, the vibration of the strings gets picked up by these coils because the strings create an electromagnetic field, right? So that's the same thing that in the end this motor here is doing. What we use these coils for is to pick that up, but also on the inside of this motor is a little foil that spins around and flips that circuit around. So inside of any power supply or any speaker or any handheld device or anything that runs electricity, it will have like super interesting sound. So these ones are quite sensitive. It's just this little motor here on my phone. Let's give it. You want to kind of, especially phone calls are really great. You should call Evil now and see what that brings up. So this will pick up any kind of radiation, electromagnetic stuff. So now you hear the output of the speaker, which is the little self-oscillating radio my friend Henrich built. So now you hear both the circuit and the output of the circuit. So you hear what makes the sound and we hear the sound it makes. And they come in the form of the telephone pickup coil. Now you're actually near older telephone networks. So it's a very useful tool. Around €5, but they're getting harder to find because a lot of people use them for exactly this. Now, if you want to see what that looks like, it's very small. This is the enclosure that it comes with like the little a suction cup on the front, so you can actually suction it to something, and that way, you can hold it in place. So I use it also sometimes to just suction it then to the table to put all my signals that are around it. So or take like some things that have a speaker or things that have a nice interesting tone like this guy or the motors. So you can kind of like create little mini landscapes around these little coils. And you can also do pulses. See? So you can hit things. As I said, it's really not sound checkable, this kind of workshop. So you just have to go, like, it's just a bit messy, It's... Yeah. And then, in my case, no. So yeah, that's electromagnetics. It's like a very clumsy. These are quite clumsy examples, but we'll get better at this. So, what you need to know is that what's always around us, of course, the ground hum. I think anybody who works with electronic music or with microphones has ever heard of ground hum, right? So that's a sound which you hear here now. That's a switching power supply. So that means it's there's a switching mechanism inside that makes it from 230, to 9 volt in this case. So that's like a cheap one. That's the expensive one. You would say it. This one sounds more fancy. So, once you go really high up in the radio and the electromagnetic spectrum, especially the radio part of it, you'll end up with these data streams. These like this kind of like very annoying dial-up sounds. Well, it's pretty much these data streams just sound like that, but then on assets. And it's really nice because you get these really nice moving streams of very digital data. But then the moment that you filter it a little bit and make it a bit more soft, and you kind of get rid of like the really harsh noises there, it's super nice and melodic material to work with and to filter and to also reuse into new works. So this is the original signal. It's a signal organic. So yeah, effecting is very important. I can really recommend frequency shifters. So you can change the frequency of the material. Very important if you don't know which material you're gonna find, right? You know, I like to make field recordings. Everywhere I go, I have a recorder with me. I have these microphones that I built. I walk around, I record these pretty much anything. I record anything, and then I use that back in my music. If I find a pattern I like, or if I find a loop that I like, or a bird sound that's really weird, and just anything that inspires to go and make and create and combine and to collage, which I think that's kind of the best way to describe my music. And then the final thing that I find very important, and that can be physical or non-physical. It can be like a mute button on a mixing desk, but I really like the radio and telephone stylus. So I made these telegraph switchboard thingies. So with this, I can make my own little Morse code generator. Oh, it had to flip around. So yeah. Yeah, I have singing bowl and I have hard microphone. Like you guys can pick which you do first. That's very good to let the audience pick. Singing bowl, hard microphone. Hard microphone. Exactly. Before it breaks. Yeah, it's like I think it's interesting that that's what my voice sounds like through my body. It's kind of romantic, right? If you lie on somebody's chest and then they're talking, then you kind of feel the vibrations. You don't really hear it safe. Okay, I give this a try, I would say. Now, and the final thing I want to show before we start. Hold on the jab now. So, singing bowl was not as hard as I thought it was gonna be. Yes, take it to me. Take this. It's too heavy. Welcome to my life. We can also, there's some settings here we can use. As a record, the guy you see. Okay, so let's go and just maybe come up and just try out some things. I think that would be good. Like, because then you have a bit of a feel for it too, instead of that I'm just showing it to you. So right now, this little box here is going to both the phone. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, that one doesn't have any electric part, so it will not make any sound.
Oh, where are you from? Yeah.
try this one there too.